Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amirul Mukhriz bin FADHIL. I'm from DME 43 Alpha, alum ID 018920. And for my project, which is Handpump, consists of 13 parts, and I've done an assembly and also exploded view for my project. And this is the first part for my project, which is pivot block. And as you can see, this is my measurement. And for the features, I use Boss extrude with blind direction. And after that, I make a circle at the right plane, and with the diameter of 30. And then for the features, I use cut extrude cut, yes, through all, with the direction through all. Alright. After that, it looks like this, the end product. This is the drawing for my pivot block, which is the first part. Okay, these are the measurements. Alright. This is the second part for my project, which is the handle. Okay, and for the sketch, I used 2 circles from the center line, and the inner circle, the diameter is 40 mm, and the outer circle, the diameter is 50 mm. And then I use Boss extrude features, and I extrude it by 1000 millimeters with blind direction. Okay, and like this. Okay, and then it should look like this. Okay, and then I use cut extrude features. Okay, and because the handle, I want to put it on top of the pivot block. If I'm not mistaken, the bottom part of the handle should be flat. Okay, and then I cut it here. Alright, this is the measurements, and then I use cut extrude features, this through all. Alright, and the end product should look like this. Alright, and these are the drawings this is the drawing for my second part, which is the handle, and these are the measurements. Okay, alright. And this is my third part for the project, which is the well seal. Okay, and this is the first sketch that I use. I made this shape using the line, and I use the center line starting from the origin to the top part of this sketch. Okay, and these are the measurements. And then I use revolve base, revolve features base by 360 degree with blind direction, and the end product should look like this. Okay, and this is the drawing for my third part, the well seal, and these are the measurements. And this is my fourth part for the project, which is the T, and this is my first sketch. I drew circle from the center line with 60 millimeter diameter, and then I use Boss extrude features and extend it by 100 millimeters with midplane as a direction, and it should look like this. The midplane extended to both sides. Okay, and after that I made another circle at the right plane with 40mm diameter, and I drew the circle from the center line. And after that I use boss extrude features for the circle just now, and extend it by 80mm, and it should look like this. Okay, with blind direction. And after that I use shell features to shape the inside of the T. Okay, alright. And after that I use filler features to fillet the edges, the edges of the T to make it smoother. Alright, and by the way, the radius for the fillet is 5mm. And these are the specifications for the feature for the fillet. And the end product, the final product, should look like this. And this is the drawing for my fourth part, which is the T, and these are the measurements. This is my fifth part for the project, which is the cylinder guard. And for the first sketch I made two circles from the center line, and the diameter for the inner circle is 45, and for the outer circle is 50mm. And then I use boss extrude features and extend it by 200mm with blind direction, and it should look like this. And this is the final product. And this is a drawing for my fifth part, which is the cylinder guide, and these are the measurements. Okay, simple. And this is my sixth part of the project, which is the stroke slide, and this is the first sketch. And I made this shape using the line, basic line, and I use center line starting from the origin. Okay, and after that I use revolve base features, and with blind direction 360° revolve around, and after that it should look like this. Okay, and after that I use boss extrude features, but first I make another another circle at the right plane. The distance from the center of the circle to the origin is 75mm, and the diameter of the circle is 30mm. And this one, for the measurement, I want it to be on the same line, okay, as the center line, as the origin. And after that I use boss extrude features. Okay, boss extrude features mid plane. This it stretches to the both sides, left and right, and I extend it by 150mm. Mid plane 150mm. And after that I use cut extrude at the bottom. Alright, like this. Shh. Okay, and this is the specifications for the extruded cut, line, direction, and 97mm. And after that I extruded it. I do another circle at the right plane inside the the circle just now. Okay, and I extruded boss, and I use extruded boss features, boss extrude features, I mean, by 20 millimeters. Look. Okay, by 20 millimeters I extend it and the blind direction, and then I mirror it to the other side, and like this. And then I use thread. For the thread specifications, it's here. Okay, blind direction 19 millimeter depth. The specifications, I use metric die and size 24 by 2 mm. For the thread options, I use right hand thread, trim with start face. Okay, and the same applies to the other side. Exactly same specifications, and the final product should look like this. And this is the drawing for my seat spot. Okay, these are the measurements. Okay, and this is the seventh part from my project, which is the enemy as the offset loom. Okay, for the sketch, first I use this rectangle. I use corner rectangle, and I draw it from the origin, and then this is the measurement for the rectangle. Inside the rectangle I draw another circle, 2 circles. The diameter is 24 and 25, and these are the measurements. Okay, and after that I use boss extrude features, and I extend it by 5 millimeters with blind direction. Okay, this. Okay, and then after that I use fillet to trim the edge, and this is the specifications, and the end product should look like this. Okay, and this is the drawings for my seventh part. Okay, this is the measurement. And this is my 8th part for the project, which is the 30mm bolt. And for this I use pentagon as I drew it from the center line, and after that I use boss extrude features, and I extruded it by 15mm with blind direction. And after that I sketch another circle inside the pentagon, inside the polygon with 30mm as a diameter, and I draw it on by the origin. After that I use boss extrude features and extruded it by 180mm with blind direction, and it should look like this. And after that I use the thread features, and the thread specifications should be this, with the end condition, blind direction, the depth is 72mm. For the specifications I use metric die type, size is 30 by 2mm, thread method cut thread, and thread options right hand thread, trim with start face, and the product should look like this. Okay, alright, and this is my 8th drawing for my 8th part, which is the 30mm bolt, and these are the measurements. Okay, and this is my 9th part for the project, which is the 24mm nut. And first I use this polygon, and I draw it from the center line, and after that I use boss extrude features, and extended it by 50mm with blind direction. And after that I use cut extrude, and before I use that feature, I draw a center circle with 23 millimeter diameter, and I use cut extrude. And for this cut extrude, it doesn't matter the depth, as long as the depth is the measurement of the depth is larger than the thickness of this nut. Okay, and after that I use thread features. For this thread, the options is and condition blind direction by 25 millimeters depth. And for the specifications, I use metric die and size is 24 by 2 mm. Thread method, I use extrude thread, and thread options, I use right hand thread, trim start face and trim it end face. And the end product should look like this. Look. Okay, this is the end product. And this is the drawings for my 9th part, which is the 24mm nut. And these are the drawings. These are the measurements. Okay. This is my 9th part. This is my 10th part for the project, which is the pivot support. And for the first sketch, I use basic line, and I draw this with this measurement, this shape with this measurement, starting from the origin. Okay, and these are the measurements. And after that I use boss extrude features, and I extruded it by 100 mm with mid plane as a direction, so it should go both sides. Okay, and after that I sketch another circle at the bottom of the pivot support, at the bottom of my first part of the pivot support, starting from the center line and with 50 millimeter diameters, and I extruded it by 1100 millimeters with blind direction, and it should look like this. Okay, and after that I make another circle at the top part of the pivot support. Here are the measurements and so on. Okay, and then I use extruded cut extrude features and cut it through all. Okay, so it should cut at both sides, and the final product, the end product, should look like this. Alright, like this. Okay, and this is my drawing for my 10th part, which is the pivot support. Here are the measurements. Okay. Alright, this is my 11th part for the project, which is the output pipe. And my first sketch is I drew 2 circles starting from the center origin. For diameter for the inner circles is 30 millimeter and the outer circle is 40 millimeter. And after that I use this, the front plane. Okay, and these are the measurements. This one I use this arc, I mean this 3-point arc, and I add another line and line, then okay, and after that I use sweep feature. Okay. This sweep feature, okay, these are the specifications again, and then product should look like this. Okay. And after that I make another, I make this as a new plane by using convert entities, and I make another circle inside, and then this is the measurement. Alright, and after that I use boss extrude features, and I extruded it by 410 millimeters, offset 10 millimeters. This is the direction, okay, 10 millimeters and blind direction. Okay. It should look like this. Alright, and this is the end product. And this is my drawing for the output part, the 11 part. Okay, this is the measurements, and okay, alright, this is my 12th part for the project, which is the 30mm nut. And this, how to make this is basically the same as the previous nut. The method to make this is basically the same as the previous one, 24mm nut. First things first, I use this polygon as I draw it from the center line, and then I extruded it, boss extrude it by 15mm and using the blind direction. Okay, should look like this. And after that I use cut extrude. Alright, but before that, the part where I want to cut this, I first draw another circle inside the knee, okay, 29mm diameter, and then I cut extrude it. I show you like this. The specifications for the cut is here, 180. It doesn't matter since you are just cutting to the thickness of the nut. Okay, and then I use thread features. The feature is, wait, the specification is this. Okay, H1 and condition up to selection. This one, metric die 30x2 size, right hand trimmer start face and trimmer vent face, and the product should look like this. Alright, this is my drawings for the 12th part, which is the 30mm nuts, and this is the the measurements. And this is the 13th part and also the last part for my project. This is the well casing. This is just basically a cylinder. Okay. My first sketch is I draw two circles, and starting from the center line, the inner circles is 90 millimeter diameter, and the outer circle is 100mm diameter, and then I boss extruded it, and I extended by 500mm with blind direction, and the final product should look like this. Okay, like this. And this is the drawing for my 13th part, which is the well casing. Okay, and these are the measurements. Okay, this is for my assembly part. First thing first, I install the well casing as the base part. Okay, alright, and after that I install the well seal on top of the well casing, and then I install the T. Okay. Then I install the cylinder guide. Okay, by the way, the cylinder guide is inside the stroke slide. Okay, the 6 part. So I don't want the when I install the stroke slide, it still can move up and down. Okay, therefore I set it to fix. Okay, because I don't want it to move. And after that, I install the offset link. I install it on both sides of the stroke slide. Okay, here and here. Alright. After that, I also installed the pivot block on top of the stroke slide, and I align it with this part of the stroke slide before the nut. Okay, before the nut, I made the surface and the surface of when this here with this surface of the pivot block, and same goes to the other side. And I also installed the pivot support. Before the nut, I also made it with this surface of this pivot block, and same goes to the other side. And then I installed the handle on top of the pivot block. I made it with the surface of the with the top surface of the pivot block. And then this one. But I also set the distance. There's also distance between this edge of the pivot block and the handle, which is I set it by 64 millimeters. And then I put the output pipe at the T. Okay, and I also do when I made it to made this surface and this surface of the T, the output part can still move. Therefore, I set it to fix before I I set it to fix first. Okay, because I don't want it to move. Alright, and after that, I installed all the nuts. Okay, installing the nut, the method I use the same. First I made it to this surface, and then by concentric relation. Okay, and then I made it. Alright, and same applies to all the nut and bolt. Okay, and this is what the end product should look like. Okay, oh my god. Alright. Alright.